Have you ever wondered why some older adults walk with steady confidence while others constantly worry about losing their balance? There is an interesting fact many people don't realize. Nearly 1 in 4 adults over the age of 65 experiences a fall each year. Yet there is also a group of seniors who move with surprising stability and rarely encounter these problems. What makes the difference? Many people assume it comes down to strength, age, or luck. But specialists who study movement and balance often point to something much simpler. The way we walk. Small adjustments in walking technique can dramatically influence balance and stability. These adjustments are not complicated workouts or intense training routines. In fact, most of them are subtle habits that gradually become automatic once you practice them. Today, we will explore 7 walking techniques that many stable, confident older adults naturally use. These methods are commonly recommended by physical therapists and balance specialists, yet surprisingly few people ever learn them. One of these techniques, the 4th one, is especially surprising. It involves a movement most people perform every day, but in the opposite way of what actually supports balance. Before we begin, let me introduce you to Daniel. Daniel is 74 years old and spent most of his life working as an electrical engineer. For decades, he was active and independent. He enjoyed daily walks, working in his yard, and spending time outdoors with his grandchildren. But about 2 years ago, something began to change. Within 6 months, Daniel experienced 3 serious falls. The last one happened while walking outside his home and resulted in a fractured hip that required surgery. For Daniel, that moment felt like a turning point. After the surgery, he began to worry that his independence might be coming to an end. His family even started discussing whether he might need extra assistance with daily activities. That was when his physical therapist introduced him to something unexpected. Instead of focusing only on strength exercises, the therapist began teaching Daniel how to completely rethink the way he walked. The changes were surprisingly small, but they were powerful. Gradually, Daniel adjusted his posture, his steps, and even where he directed his attention while walking. Within a year, the difference was remarkable. He went from frequent falls to walking confidently again, even joining his grandchildren on light hiking trails. What changed was not luck. It was technique. Over the past few years, specialists studying balance and mobility have noticed something interesting. Older adults who remain steady and active into their 80s and 90s often share similar walking patterns. These patterns support balance, coordination, and awareness of the environment. What you are about to learn are the 7 techniques that form the foundation of those patterns. These are not temporary tricks or exercises you eventually stop doing. Instead, they become natural habits that reshape how your body moves. If you have ever felt slightly less steady while walking, or if you simply want to stay active and independent as long as possible, these techniques can be incredibly helpful. Let's begin with the first walking secret, and it might surprise you because it has nothing to do with your feet. It starts with your eyes. Think about where you usually look when you walk. Many people naturally look down at the ground a few steps ahead. It seems logical. After all, you want to avoid obstacles. But here is something many people don't realize. Constantly looking down can actually make balance more difficult. When your gaze stays fixed on the ground, several things begin to happen without you noticing. Your head tilts forward. Your shoulders begin to round. Your posture shifts, and your center of gravity moves slightly out of alignment. This position also limits how much information your brain receives about the environment around you. Balance relies heavily on visual awareness. When your field of vision becomes narrow, your body has less information to help maintain stability. This is why many specialists recommend what is called the 3-point gaze technique. When Daniel first practiced this method during his recovery, it felt strange. He had always believed that looking down was the safest option, but within days he noticed that standing upright actually felt easier and more comfortable. The 3-point gaze technique is simple. First, focus your gaze about 10 to 15 feet ahead of you while walking. This gives you enough time to notice obstacles without forcing your head downward. Second, occasionally lift your gaze toward your destination or the horizon. This naturally encourages your spine to straighten and improves posture. Third, begin using your peripheral vision more intentionally. Instead of staring directly at every object, allow your side vision to notice movement and changes in your surroundings. This broader visual awareness helps your balance system respond more quickly. Daniel practiced this technique during short daily walks around his neighborhood. Within a couple of weeks, he noticed something unexpected. He felt taller, his breathing felt easier, and his confidence while walking began to return. Research has shown that gaze direction can actually influence walking mechanics. When people constantly look downward, their steps often become shorter and less stable. But when they use a forward-focused gaze, their walking pattern becomes smoother and more balanced. Now let's move to the second walking secret, which focuses on something happening much closer to the ground: your feet. Most people rarely think about how their feet contact the ground while walking, but this detail plays a major role in stability. If you watch young children walk, you will notice a natural pattern. Their heel touches the ground first, and then their weight rolls smoothly toward the toes. Over time, however, many adults unintentionally change this pattern. Some begin walking flat-footed, where the entire foot lands at once. Others shift toward landing on the front of the foot first. Both patterns reduce stability. Walking flat-footed removes the natural rolling motion that helps absorb impact and transfer weight smoothly. Walking on the front of the foot first makes your base of support narrower and less stable. The natural walking pattern is known as the heel-to-toe roll. With each step, your heel gently touches the ground first. Then your weight moves along the outer edge of the foot before pushing forward through the toes. This motion creates a stable transition of weight and allows the ankle and leg muscles to work efficiently. When Daniel first practiced this technique, it felt exaggerated and unfamiliar. But after several weeks of mindful walking practice, it became natural again. His steps felt smoother, and his balance improved noticeably. A simple way to practice is to walk slowly and focus on the sequence of each step. Heel touches first, then the foot rolls forward, and finally the toes push off. Even a few minutes of mindful practice each day can help retrain this movement pattern. In the next section, we'll explore the third walking secret, something most people rarely think about while walking, yet it plays a crucial role in keeping the body stable: your core muscles. When people hear the word core, they often imagine gym workouts or abdominal exercises. But the core muscles serve a much more important purpose in everyday life. They act as the central stabilizers of your entire body. Every time you walk, your core helps control movement between your upper body and your legs. It keeps your spine supported and prevents unnecessary swaying or twisting. The challenge is that as people age, many begin to relax their midsection completely while walking. The stomach and lower back muscles stop participating in movement, forcing other parts of the body to compensate. When this happens, the hips, knees, and lower back take on extra work. Over time, this can create instability and make balance more difficult. Daniel admitted he had never thought about his core muscles while walking. It seemed completely unrelated to balance. But when his therapist showed him how to activate these muscles gently, the difference was immediate. He described it as if someone had tightened the frame of a piece of furniture that used to wobble slightly. The technique itself is very simple and does not require any strenuous exercise. Specialists often call it the zip-up method. Imagine gently drawing your belly button slightly toward your spine while you walk. Not forcefully pulling in your stomach, but creating a subtle lift and light tightening through your midsection. The effort should only be about 20 to 30% of your maximum strength, just enough to provide support without creating tension. You should still breathe comfortably and speak normally while walking. At first, Daniel sometimes forgot to do this, so he created small reminders around his home. Every time he noticed one of those reminders, he would check his posture and lightly engage his core during the next minute of walking. Within a few weeks, this small adjustment became automatic. Studies from aging research centers have shown that older adults who maintain gentle core engagement while walking recover more easily from small stumbles or uneven surfaces. The body reacts faster and remains more stable. Now let's move to the fourth walking secret, which surprises many people because it involves a movement most adults gradually stop using: your arms. If you watch children walking, their arms move freely and naturally with every step. The motion looks effortless and balanced. But when you observe many older adults walking, you might notice something different. Their arms often remain stiff at their sides, or they hold their hands together in front of their body. Some people barely move their arms at all. Although it seems like a small detail, this habit can reduce balance. Your arms are natural counterbalances for your legs. When your right foot moves forward, your left arm naturally swings forward to maintain stability. This opposite movement keeps your body aligned and prevents excessive twisting through the torso. When arm movement stops, the body must work harder to maintain balance. Daniel realized he had gradually stopped swinging his arms while walking. They had become stiff without him even noticing. Once he began restoring a natural arm swing, his walking pattern changed quickly. The technique specialists recommend is simple. Allow your arms to bend slightly at the elbows and swing gently forward and backward as you walk. The movement should feel relaxed rather than forced. Your hands should pass naturally near your hip as your arm moves backward. The goal is not large dramatic swings. Instead, think of your arms moving like relaxed pendulums that help guide your rhythm. Many people notice that when their arms begin moving naturally again, walking feels smoother and requires less effort. Now let's talk about the fifth walking secret, which involves something many people overlook completely: your feet and the shoes you wear. As we age, subtle changes occur in the feet. The nerves that send information about the ground to the brain become less sensitive, and the small stabilizing muscles in the feet can gradually weaken. This means the brain receives less feedback about the surface you are walking on. At the same time, certain types of footwear can make this problem worse. Very thick or heavily cushioned shoes sometimes reduce the foot's ability to sense the ground. While they may feel soft and comfortable, they can also reduce important balance feedback. Daniel discovered that the shoes he had been wearing for years were not helping his stability. His therapist suggested switching to walking shoes with 3 important features. First, a low and stable heel. The difference in height between the heel and the front of the shoe should be small. Second, a flexible front sole that allows the foot to move naturally during each step. Third, a secure fit with laces or strong straps rather than loose slip-on shoes. In addition to better footwear, strengthening the feet themselves can help improve balance. Simple exercises like spreading the toes, gently gripping a towel with the toes, or picking up small objects can activate the muscles that support stability. Even a few minutes of these movements several times a week can help improve coordination and awareness in the feet. Now let's look at the 6th walking secret, something surprisingly simple that can change your stability immediately. Step width. Many people walk with their feet very close together, sometimes even crossing over an imaginary center line. This creates what specialists sometimes compare to walking on a tightrope. When your steps become too narrow, the base supporting your body becomes unstable. The solution is known as the widened base technique. Instead of allowing your feet to cross toward the center, aim to keep them roughly hip-width apart as you walk. This creates a stable rectangle beneath your body rather than a narrow line. Daniel practiced this adjustment by imagining that he was walking along 2 parallel tracks. Each foot remained on its own line without crossing over. After a short time, this wider, more stable pattern became natural. Many people notice that walking on grass, gravel, or uneven surfaces feels easier once their step width improves. Finally, we come to the 7th and perhaps most powerful walking secret: transitions. Interestingly, most balance incidents do not occur while someone is walking in a straight line. They often happen during moments of transition. These are the brief seconds when a person stands up, turns around, changes direction, stops suddenly, or moves from one surface to another. During these transitions, the body needs a short moment to adjust. but many people rush through these changes in movement without giving their balance system enough time to respond. This is where the mindful pause technique becomes helpful. Before changing direction or standing up, simply pause for a brief moment. Allow your body to stabilize, focus your gaze on where you want to move next, and then begin the new movement smoothly. When turning, it is often safer to step in the new direction rather than twisting the upper body while the feet remain planted. Daniel began practicing this small pause at several points in his home, especially when getting up from his favorite chair or turning at the bottom of the stairs. Over time, the pause became automatic, and those moments of instability disappeared. When you combine all 7 of these techniques, something interesting happens. Walking begins to feel smoother, more balanced, and more confident. Let's quickly review them together. First, the 3-point gaze technique, looking ahead instead of constantly looking down. Second, the heel-to-toe step that allows the foot to roll naturally. Third, gentle engagement of your core muscles to support the body. Fourth, relaxed arm swing that provides natural counterbalance. Fifth, stronger feet and properly fitted walking shoes. Sixth, maintaining a step width around hip distance for a stable base. And seventh, using brief pauses during transitions like turning or standing. When Daniel gradually incorporated all of these habits into his daily routine, his walking pattern transformed. He stood taller, moved with more confidence, and once again began enjoying his daily walks. The most surprising part for him was not only the improvement in balance, but also the return of freedom. Walking no longer felt stressful or uncertain. It became something he looked forward to again. The encouraging truth is that the body can adapt at any age. With consistent practice, these techniques gradually become natural. Your brain and muscles begin to treat them as the normal way of moving. If you try even a few of these adjustments during your next walk, you may begin to notice the difference. Balance is not just about strength or age. Often, it is about small habits that guide how the body moves through the world. And with the right habits, walking can remain comfortable, confident, and enjoyable for many years to come.